So, yung last topic natin is about dimension wherein we had set the width and height of paragraph ata. Yun yung pinalitan natin. And we also set the limit for its minimum and maximum height property. So, sabi ko nga, wag hindi kasya. So, ano mangyayari? Ang mangyayari dyan is it will overflow an element like for a paragraph. Yan, bibigay akong sample. For a paragraph, for instance, in order to manage the overflow, you had to set the scroll bar. At yan na yung ating next na topic. Scroll bars are used for larger amount of space allocated for an element. Set the dimension of certain width and height. You also set the limit. So, paano mangyayari sa overflow? In order to accommodate the content of an element, we will use scroll bars. So the property for scroll bars is not scroll bar as well. Instead, overflow yung property. At meron tayong value na visible, hidden, tsaka scroll. Siyempre, we wanted to discover itong element na to na scroll. So the rest, alangan naman nga i-hidden natin, di ba? So, here in dimension pala ito. So, we'll create a new CSS. And we'll name this as Scrollbars. Okay. What we'll do is we'll set the overflow. Ay, wag na muna. Hindi ko na siya muna idadagdag ha. Overflow property to scroll. Bakit hindi ko siya idadagdag? Kasi nga, ato niya page, konting-konti lang naman yung laman. How will this overflow eh? Napaka-konti. So what we'll do is ito munang page natin. Ito. Nayaan na yung atong paabuon, di ba? What we will do is we'll copy this part. And then here, insert those 3 texts. Okay. Save, ayan, para makita mo. However, this has limits, so what we'll do is I'll show you to the original file. Ayan siya. Kung napansin niyo yung paragraph after, ano ito? After the horizontal rule, nag-overflow na siya pa sa next paragraph, second paragraph. Overflow. So now, we will add the scroll bars na ito wherein yung mga paragraph na overflow will automatically be placed a scroll bar. So in order to add scroll bars.css, okay, dito sa main style natin, we'll just there. Yan, nagdagdag ako dito ng import. Okay, save this file. And we'll check the result. Font page 3. Nay, wait lang ha. Wait lang. Scroll bars. Wait lang ha. Kulang pala ng letter S. So, ayan siya. Scroll bars.css. Tama ang spelling. Medyo ko abot ang L. Check it. So, ayan. As a result, tumbok late. Ayan. Kita nyo? So we have the scroll bar. So it is understood that on the second paragraph, may nag-appear din na scroll bar. Nga lang, naka-deactivated siya. Kasi nga, hindi naman siya nag-overflow. In the same manner, ganun din yung result sa third paragraph. So I'll just wanted to clarify kasi do ato na bing setting for scroll bar is set to paragraph lang. So lahat ng paragraph magte-take effect siya. Unless in-inline natin yung pag-atake ng overflow. So, hidden naman. We'll try hidden. Ano ito? Oops. Okay. So hidden is a value wherein the content of the nested element is simply cut off at the border of the containing element and no scroll bar is visible. Ganon. So pag sobra, eto nasa ilalim tayo right now. So pag sobra, kina-cut off na lang. So we refresh this one. Ayan siya. Wala kang makikitang scroll bar, hindi mo rin ma-identify na may mga contents na hidden kasi nga, yan, kina-cut off na niya automatically. So that is hidden. Okay? Right. Wow, nagasabat. Visible, the content, actually ito yung default, allows the content to overflow the border of its containing element. So, we set it to visible. Walang reaction ng aking klase. So, we refresh this one. Boom. Ayan siya, yung itsura. So, ito yung default na nakita niya last time. So, I think it would be better if we'll set this to scroll. Nabatian niya ako. Hello, refresh. Yan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. So, do you have question with scroll bars? So, ito na, this part na of CSS is already advanced, meaning to say, ginagamit ito together with JavaScript. I don't remember kung first meeting if I get you oriented na tuturuan ko kayo ng dalawa, which is, ito nga, yung CSS tsaka JavaScript. Nga lang, dahil sa napaka-limited na time, although maraming topics tayong na-discuss dito sa online natin, but then, I see it very limited. Matatapos na tayo and I'm happy kasi matatapos na. Hindi ko na na-discuss yung JavaScript but I think you have IT 17 na ako ulit yung mag-handle. So doon na lang tayo yung continuation. What I'm trying to tell you, bakit ko kayo refresh sa original na sana objective natin to introduce CSS together with JavaScript is that intentionally, I am able to have these topics in advance kasi it will be good for you to have this background kasi nga gagamitin natin siya hand in hand with JavaScript later. Sa JavaScript kasi ito yung part na nagiging dynamic, everything becomes dynamic, everything becomes active, just like creating a page that enables online examination or anything, games, mga ganyan. So, kailangan they work hand in hand kasi CSS is the format, while JavaScript naman enables animation, yung transition, yung tago-tago na part, yan. Na later on, it becomes visible. So, although hindi ito yung visible na mention ko, sinasabihan ko lang kasi, yan na yung next topic natin. So, if you don't have questions on this, we'll have the, by the way, etong examples na to, kahit na yung binibigay ko sa inyo is purely external na lahat na approach ng CSS. Anyway, sa notes natin, nandyan naman yung mga inline. When you say inline, ito is effective or intended lang for a single element. Yung akin kasi is nilalahat ko na. Kaya tanan-tanan sa is bounded on a specific format. So, ito yung example. Ayan siya. Ito yung scroll bar. So, as you see, ito nga lang yung may result. The rest is hindi na kasi hindi naman actually importante yung iba. So, visibility. Okay, this chapter introduces or allows you to hide certain elements from view. You can use this property haron along with JavaScript to create very complex menu and very complex web page layout. Complex talaga yung term. Actually, it's just dynamic. Haron, para bukon it, mabugat kinyo. Kasi ang baon ninyo, ay mo ko, budlay-budlay, tagalimana among second sem. No. Dynamic siya at maganda. For me, it is a good experience kasi kasi you're able to do certain things, tago-tago, magbibigay kayo ng mga mga messages, meaning you could interact, the user or the client could interact directly with the web page. You may choose to use visibility property to hide errors. So, that's one of the reasons why you had to learn this. But specifically, ito ay ginagawa. For example, sa exam, if you need to hide answers, diba? Until the user selects an option to show it. Ganyan siya. Remember that once the source code, remember that the source code will still contain whatever is in the invisible paragraph. So the element paragraph is mentioned here. So you do not use this to hide sensitive information such as credit card details or password. So itong visibility is just clearly emphasize na although it is hidden from the client, but still yung password, still yung code, yung source code, ito, ibig sabihin ito. Yung source code, nakikita pa rin ng user. Ito yung code na sinasabi. There. So, nakikita pa rin siya ng user. So, in other words, it's not safe. It's not a security security measure or technique to do this in programming kasi makikita ni programmer. And programmer, in some way, baka at the back of his mind, he wanted to make business at nakikita niya yung mga credit card na yan. Wag. Later, malay natin, maging developer kayo, di ba? Diba? So, pag naging developer, huwag niyo tayong gamitin. Actually, sa side ng mga programmer, it was an advantage. Pero, sa side, business, hindi. So, visibility. The property we use is visibility. Meron tayong tatlong value. First value is visible. Siyempre, this is the default. So, demo ko sa inyo yung hidden. As mentioned, paragraph muna yung unahin. Paragraph. Ito na yung pinakagasgas na element na nagagawa. CSS. There. So, we will name this file as paragraph there. Paragraph.css. Okay. And save. Oh no, may paragraph gali kita. No. Hindi paragraph. Ano tangani running? Visibility, may gulay. This is visibility. Visibility.css. Place here, paragraph. Visibility. Okay. So we save this part and we will incorporate this on our main styles. So for this to take effect, we import paragraph.css.
Visibility, di ba, ma'am?
Yes. Ay, visibility. No. Thank you, Pifianco. Visibility.css. Let me check. Okay, nandyan siya sa font. We'll save this file. And it takes effect on the paragraph. So it refresh this file and boom. Ayan, nawala na siya. But then, may iya parang si Dagom. But then, it takes the place pa rin. Nandyan pa rin yung space na yan na intended for the paragraph. Yun lang yung limitation. So, malalaman pa rin ni client, nandyan lang siya. The box and its content are made invisible, although still affects the layout of the page. Ibig sabihin, nandyan pa rin. Still occupies. Now, for special mention sa property sa element nga table, you could also hide the table. Nga lang, the entire table will be hidden. Okay? Pakita ko lang sa inyo. The entire table will be hidden. So, if it is not your purpose, kung gusto mo lang is part lang ng table, so you just collapse. Collapse yan, di ba? Ito. Collapse. This is only used with dynamic table columns and row effects. Result, for instance, of a team wherein you had several players, members in a team, and yung result is given individually. So, one player at a time, just like that one. Kasi parang gina-excite ni mo, row mo nga, mga kaibahan, mga teammate niya. So, yan ginagamit siya para doon. So, pakita ko lang na you could also make the table. Table's visibility, lang, it is not applicable. Ano nga yung sinabi ko? Kasi the entire table would be hidden. Ayan, mawawala yung entire table. So, natitira na lang is si mother, father, dear, tsaka yung ating horizontal rule. The rest below, nawala. So, paano kung yung intention mo is just part lang? Part lang. So, kunin ko to. Instead, we'll just use, for instance, yung heading ng table. So, let's save this file and refresh it. Boom. Ayan yung table. Nandyan pa rin siya, pero hindi mo na makikita yung mga headers niya. Ano nga nila mga headers ka na? Table headers includes, okay, description, budget, actual, and difference. Ayan. Pwede siyang itago. In fact, if you would place this as just an inline CSS, for instance, dito sa stencil paper na 700, you could place it here. How do you place a style, inline style? Ganyan dapat. Na-use to ako sa visibility there. And then we use collapse. Do we need a semicolon? Try lang natin. So, coupon band na 700. Saan yung banda? Ito. 750 centavos. Ayan siya, You see? Siya lang yung nawala. So, preferably, if you would use this together with JavaScript, yung intention mo is to simply hide somebody's, for instance, somebody's income in an online business. So, yan lang. Tapos, charan, you will click a button, for instance, and it will appear. So, ganun siya. Nga lang, hindi natin magagawa sa CSS yung mga charan nga ron dahil ito ang ginaubraha sa JavaScript. Si JavaScript kung manipulate it, mga dynamic style. So anyway, you could use it also with TD. Nga lang, lahat ng TD available. Lahat ng TD, madaming TD within our table. So ito, lahat to. Tanan ng mga TD nga na. So ni-remove ko yung TH pinalitan ko ng TD. So when you do that, okay, refresh, boom. So, lahat ng data therein, nawala. Yun yung kakaibang itsura. Nakita ko lang sa inyo yung effect it external wherein pinsan sanda guys, and kung pinsan sanda pati tara ng border na remove. Unlike if you would place it in line, nandyan pa rin siya. O, diba? Kunin ko lang siya. Itong visibility na to is actually hindi magandang Hindi magandang part ng ating lesson. So next is, ay, nagutom-utang mahumot. Okay, visibility hidden. Next topic is positioning. So, aside from you could hide element, you could also position it on a specific location. We are talking about the coordinates, X and Y coordinates. So, we have 3 positions. Parang napakabastos naman. 3 positions. Ito ay relative, fixed, tsaka absolute. So, when we say relative, kung actual nga location, bakit position? Location dapat. Kung do actual nga location, sang ka, anay ka, remove ko anay visibility. Ako ay nadidistract sa visibility. Kunin ko muna ito ha. Delete ko siya. Para ma-restore do aton yung mga data. There. Ayan. So, in position, ito yung actual o yung designated, ano nga ni, tawag ka ron? Parang ito na yung na-adapt by default na position according to the sequence of elements that we have placed within the HTML document. Kasi nauna nga naman sa HTML document yung within the body, we have H1, then H2, HR, paragraph, then next to paragraph is another paragraph. Next to paragraph is table, and lastly, we have the paragraph. So, yun yung pagkasunod-sunod. Yun yung sequence ng element as it is placed within the HTML document. In other words, doon nagbe-base yung actual na location or position ng ating mga element. Now, if you wanted to change that by using positioning ba? Yes, positioning. Position. You wanted to change that using position. We have 3 examples. 3 values. So, para hindi na kayo ma-confuse, we had limited time. We continue with positioning. So, we'll save this file as positioning.css. Positioning.css. Tama yan. Chris, basta nagkinatugog kayo na. So, let's try H1 muna. Mother dear ba yung H1? Wait lang. Let me check. H1 is mother dear. So, H1, it changes its position. Okay. Just choose relative. Now, yung H1 natin, naka-center siya. So, pakialaman natin doon since by default, nasa gitna, pakialaman natin yung kanyang left, itong left. So, we'll try to move this to the left. Ay, hindi ko pa pala na-discuss. Sorry. Relative positioning changes the position of the HTML element relative to where it normally appears. Ano ito? Ma'am, pa-excuse ako, ma'am, mga 3 minutes po. Isulangan ako. Sulangan ko ay ang kampod nga 7 years old po sa guardhouse. Thank you, ma'am. Sure. Go ahead. So, you have left. Pag negative, ayan. Negative, ano na nila? Move left, use a negative value for left. Move right, use a positive value for left. So, since i-move natin siya pakaliwa, si mother dear, negative daw yung gamitin. So, try 200 pixel. Oh, we'll save this file. And then we'll include this. Baka makalimutan. Okay, for this to take effect, we'll include this in our main style. Tama ba yung file name? Okay. So, si Mother Dear nandito. We refresh it. Boom. Ayan siya. Ito yung, ginanamok ko. Ito yung 200 pixel na na-consume niya. Okay. Negative siya. Negative for it to be moved to the left. I'll make it 500. Okay. Refresh. Let's take a look sa left side, negative 500. Refresh this one. Boom. Ayan. Nag-change si Mau. Okay. So, ito namang paragraph, pakialaman din natin. So, anyway, it is the 4 minutes pa naman. P, position. So, when we say relative, dyan lang siya. But when we say absolute, it refers to the coordinates na. So, yung paragraph natin, okay, wait lang. Pakita ko, Anay, ha? When we make paragraph relative, ayan, ano mangyayari when the paragraph is also positioned negative 500 pixel? Ano mangyayari sa kanya? Mawawala siguro to. Okay, refresh this one. Boom, ayan. Part of the paragraph is now hidden. Unintentionally, part lang, nakikita. When it was moved, when its left was moved to negative 500. O, kunin ko si paragraph. Change ko siya. P. Okay, position. How many minutes? Ubusin na natin. Absolute. Okay. Ayan, pakaalaman natin yung top. Yung top naman, pag, ano daw, if you wanted to move down, use a positive value for top. So, i-move natin pa ilalim. Downwards. So, let's try 500 pixel. Okay. Ito ay mga paragraph. Paragraph ito, ha? Okay. Hindi unyani man naman makita. I-move pa man ang i-move. Okay lang. Refresh. Boom. Tignan nyo yung nangyari. Napunta siya sa ilalim and take note, guys. Nagsagampaw tanan-tanan do atong paragraph. That's why I'm telling you it's not effective to use this advanced part kasi nga all together sila in terms of using the external link. So for this to solve this problem, you had to study layering. And layering is actually the next topic. That is layers. So, for now, hanggang doon na lang muna tayo. We'll stop with this absolute positioning. I think this is still effective if you uses inline na style. Huwag niyong gagamitin sa lahat. Nangyayari, lahat sila mapupunta sa isang lugar na hindi mo in-expect. So, H2, for instance, anyway, nag-iisa lang naman yung H2. This is Father Dear. H2 is Father Dear. So, we refresh this one. Yan, boom. Nasaan si H2? Ayan siya, oh. It was moved downward using absolute positioning. Yung X, Y niya, coordinates na nandito. So, na-mention ko X, Y, actually, pwede siyang ma-move anywhere, somewhere, in any position. But, we will have that next meeting.